A very warm welcome to a short session of mindfulness practice. The practice is designed to be open to everyone from whatever background. And before we start, I always find it very helpful just to arrive, literally arrive in this space, in our body. We live such active lives that normally we're rushing around and living in that virtual reality. And this is just a chance for the next about 15 minutes just to rest and to just find ourselves again in a quiet moment of mindfulness. So if you'd like to sit comfortably, you don't need to sit in any particular position. A chair is fine, or sofa. Try as far as possible to keep the head, neck and shoulders straight but relaxed. Traditionally, the hands are resting, the right palm on the left, thumbs touching. But if you prefer, they can be placed down or upright over the knees, whichever feels natural, comfortable. Before we start, I find it very helpful to do a very few simple stretches to prepare the body and also to prepare the mind to create that atmosphere space in which we will begin the practice. So inhaling through the nostril, and as we inhale, feel the abdomen very gently moving forwards. As we breathe out, feel the abdomen drawing in towards the spine. On the next convenient inhalation, raising the arms above the head, interlock the fingers, invert the palms, and you can stretch, keep the chin tucked in. And the idea is we're just releasing tension from that shoulder area, opening up the rib cage, those breathing muscles, which tend to get very tense when we do lots of sitting. Breathing out, timing the movement with the breath, slowly and gently lowering the arms and just rotating the shoulders once or twice. Gentle rolling movement of the neck. You might hear a few clicks and creaks, not to worry. Any pain stop immediately, and anything which feels uncomfortable, feel very free just to stop and listen to your own body. We'll do that once more, inhaling. Raising the arms above the head, interlock the fingers if it's convenient. Stretching upwards, keeping the chin tucked in, and really opening up the upper part of the body. Allowing for a deeper abdominal breath, very helpful breathing, which helps to relax the body and also the mind, breathing out slowly and gently lower. And again, just loosening up the shoulders, loosening up the neck. And already we may feel a little bit different. So once again, coming into that very comfortable, upright position, a position which has a sense of structure, yet it's very relaxed. Head, neck and shoulders straight but relaxed. Hands in the lap or over the knees. Chin slightly dipping down to that notch. You can feel a little hollow at the center of the collarbone to lengthen and relax the neck muscles. Feet about a hip width apart, parallel. To begin with, it can be helpful to close the eyes, which helps to bring the awareness inside the body. Normally, most of us live such busy lives that constantly the attention's moving outwards through the different, what they call doorways of the senses, particularly sight. When we have the eyes open, we look at things, we label, judge, and before we know where we are, the minds travel probably around the world several times or in the past or the future. So closing the eyes just helps to reduce that busyness through the doorway of sight. And we're dividing this session into just 3 very short practices. Short deliberately so because the mind tends to wander, so the idea is just to have the right length of time just to start to settle the mind, to work with the mind, not keeping the practices too long. More than likely what will happen is the mind will wander, will start to feel feel sleepy. So this very first simple practice going to invite us all to connect with the felt sensation of our breath. The breath which is always with us, but like most things which are always with us, we tend to take for granted. So for the next about 5 to 7 minutes, what we're going to do is simply connect with the felt sensation of the air as it enters and leaves the nostril, sensation of coolness, warmth, movement of air. And each time the mind slips away, which it will do, probably repeatedly, not to feel any sense of frustration, annoyance, disappointment. In fact, the reverse, feel happy that we've noticed the gap, and very gently invite the mind to reconnect with our chosen object, the breath. And if for any reason, if we've got a breathing problem or a cold, which will be highlighted, we can choose the felt sensation of the body instead, felt sensation of warmth if the hands are touching, tactile sensation sitting on the chair or the feet resting against the floor. Whichever object we choose, just keeping to that one object for now. We can experiment another time. To begin with, the mind may feel very, very busy, even busier than normal. And again, counterintuitively, that's a very good sign. We're beginning to notice what's happening in the mind. Normally, we're so caught up with those external busyness, or probably more importantly, all of that constant internal mental chatter, thoughts, memories, projections, shopping lists. Very rarely do we notice what's happening in the mind itself. But after a while, what can happen, the mind may lose interest, lose energy, maybe even start to feel sleepy. So to counter that, we can experiment and gently opening the eyes with a soft focus, looking at any point, not moving, 2 to 3 feet in front. As soon as we open the eyes, immediately light, energy floods into the mind. But if you find that very distracting, then gently close the eyes again. Just this breath in and just this breath out. And if the eyes are open, gently close the eyes. And once again, just reconnect to our felt sensation of our body, felt sensation of the breathing, felt sensation of our mind, noticing what kind of internal mental weather patterns are going on. If we've got blue skies, sunshine, or overcast, rain clouds on the horizon. Not trying to judge anything, to change anything, but just simply a reality check, just noticing how we are right here, right now. Maybe the body's feeling already, after even those very few moments, a little bit more relaxed. Maybe the breathing a little bit slower and deeper. Maybe the mind not feeling quite so rushed as when we started. Maybe none of those things. So each time we practice can feel very different, and we're not trying to anticipate a particular experience. And to mark the end of that practice before moving on to the next, again, you may want to just to rotate the shoulders, readjust the body posture, just creating that comfortable upright position, which has that sense of structure, yet it's very relaxed. And the body posture, the position, very helpful to create the right atmosphere, the space in which the mind will start to settle. Moving to the second popularly known mindfulness practice, we can be literally mindful of anything. And in this practice, we're inviting the mind to have an open awareness on sound. Whatever sounds arise from within our room, from outside, from much further afield, just welcome the sounds into our field of awareness. Each time the mind slips away onto thought, distraction, memory, shopping list, external distraction, then just notice that that's happened. Not feeling frustrated, annoyed, happy that we've noticed the gap, and very gently invite the mind to reconnect on that open awareness of sound. Noticing how each sound has a different quality, a different cadence. Some sounds may just pop out of nowhere, completely engage our attention and then fade away as quickly as they rose, very much like our thoughts. Other sounds may be that gentle tick-tocking in the background, sounds which normally we're not even aware of until we quieten the mind and they come to the forefront of our attention. but each sound, each thought constantly changing, each has a beginning, a middle, an end. Noticing the tendency of the mind to judge and to label each sound. Some we may find pleasurable, we want more of them. Others we may find very discordant, we want them to finish as quickly as possible. And again, bringing that very short, simple practice to a close and to mark the end of the practice. Again, you may want just to rotate the shoulders, a little bit of movement, maybe stretching the arms, before coming back into that comfortable upright sitting position. And that second practice, the aim is to allow the mind to take more of a spectator role, to step back. Normally we, particularly when we feel pressured, anxious, worried, life sort of throwing lots of things at us, we can feel totally overwhelmed, like an autumn leaf blown, buffeted by the winds. And by mentally taking a step back from the situation, just simply observing, using what we call an anchor of the breath or the body to steady the mind, the world will carry on very nicely without us for those few moments. It allows us just to ground ourselves, to stabilize ourselves, to give ourselves permission just to observe rather than feeling that we have to act or react. And very often in life, most wise course is just not to do, just simply to watch. It also allows us to get more into the driving seat, which can be very empowering, which in itself is very relaxing. Moving to the final, very short, simple practice, again, within our comfortable, upright sitting position. Once again, just simply inviting the mind, always being very gentle with the mind, never forcing or judging the mind, just inviting the mind to connect with our chosen object of the breath or the body. Noticing maybe the mind's feeling a little bit quieter, not so busy, not so rushed, a little bit more relaxed than when we started the practice. And I'd like to invite us to take 5 deep but relaxed breaths in. And as we breathe in, without exaggerating the breath, but just gently, ideally through the nostril, allowing the abdominal muscles just to slightly move forwards. And in the mind's eye, directing the in-breath to whatever point in the body that we may have discovered feels a little bit tense or tired. And in the mind's eye, allowing the breath in the mind's eye to warm, to massage, to relax that area, to breathe into that area, to soften it. And as we breathe out again, ideally through the nostril, allowing those feelings of tension, tiredness, aches and pains, worries, just to flow out of the body and into the floor, and repeating that 5 times. Gentle breath in and gentle but slightly deeper breath out. Breathing in energy and letting go tension, tiredness, worries. And before we bring this short, simple session to a close, I'm going to recite 4 lines that we very often recite at Jamyang. They come from Buddhist prayer, but universal aspiration. Wouldn't it be wonderful if all beings had happiness and the cause of happiness? Wouldn't it be wonderful if all beings were free from suffering and the cause of suffering? Wouldn't it be wonderful if all beings would abide in peace and harmony? Wouldn't it be wonderful if all beings were free from feeling overly attached to some and distant from others? And if you're wearing glasses, putting them somewhere safe and bring the palms together, again invitational. I find it helpful to transition at the end of a practice, just starting to rub the hands firmly, creating warmth between the palms before placing like cups over the eyelid, feeling the warmth from the palm through the eyelid, and repeating a couple of times more. Can help to relax the muscles at the back of the eyes, very helpful if we're doing lots of that screen work. Mentally, if we're feeling a bit tired, jaded, can help to re-energize. And it can help just to provide that transition between the end of the practice before we move on. Thank you very much.